Hey, I'm Six Shot Changer.
And I'm TFRwldnas. And welcome to my 100th review. This was suggested to me by Mr. Hot Rodney Prime. He suggested a comment on one of my videos because I was coming up to my 100th review. I should do something special. And one of the things he suggested was I should do a collaboration review with another YouTuber. And fortunately, I'd spoken with Mr. Six Shot a number of occasions about doing a collab review of a particular character.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, it's always fun to do a collab. So quite be looking forward to this. And what are we doing this collab on then?
We are doing this on probably one of the greatest transforming toys of all time, at least in my personal opinion. It's any little scout figures, any little tiny dude, but he's got so much going on. Hunt for the Decepticons, Scout Class Breacher. This dude is absolutely awesome. I love him to bits. He's amazing, and he is the subject of this this collab review.
Excellent, that's cool. So I've got my Breacher here as well. So should we start off with a little bit about the character? So what do you know about this guy? What line is he from?
Well, he's from the Hunt for the Decepticons line, which was a spin-off toy line from one of the movies. I think it was it Revenge of the Fallen?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
It's a spin-off from Revenge of the Fallen. Obviously, you get the mainline toys for the movie, and then they do these spin-off toy lines because obviously they're a toy business at the end of the day. They've got to sell toys. I mean, there's only so many figures they can bring out for figures in the movie, so they bring out these other toy lines. And they did the Hunt for the Decepticons line. And there was a number of figures of all different size classes that they did, and he was just one of them. But he also is works in conjunction with Sea Spray. I have a Sea Spray, but unfortunately I couldn't use mine for this particular review because just a little story I'm going to put in here. Back at Auto Assembly, the last Auto Assembly 2015, I was first introduced to this character by Mr. Six Shot because if you remember, Chris, in was it the bar on the Saturday night?
Yeah, that's right.
And then Timey Tuimey came up to you and you bought your Breacher off him for a couple of quid or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And, then later on, you gave it to, was it Jamal, and gave him a challenge to try and transform it. And he struggled a bit because he's quite complex if you're not familiar with the mold. Yeah,
Jesatron, he had a time. I put him on a time limit, and it was so good watching him squirm.
Anyway, so on the Sunday, I've been meaning to get hold of Sea Spray, but after you mentioned that this guy goes in the back of Sea Spray, I got my Sea Spray on, I think it was a Sunday afternoon from Zyber Toys, and then I'd seen that all the cool stuff had a bunch of breaches on the front, so as soon as I bought my Sea Spray, I'll march straight over to all the cool stuff and picked up my Breacher for £7. So I got both of them.
Fantastic.
But
that's what you want.
As I do this numbering thing with my bots, Sea Spray is bot 300. He's a centenary bot, and I have this thing whereby my centenary bots, I save them for my when I get to a milestone on my subscriber count. When I get to like 100 subs, 200 subs, I then break out one of my centenary bots and review them. And as my Sea Spray is bot 300 and he's still minting box, I'm not going to open him until I get to my 300 subs review. So can't actually use him for this one, unfortunately.
No, I've actually got it myself, but he's transformed into bot mode, which isn't what you'd want to show anyway with this.
Well, obviously, if I ever get to 300 subs, when I do my Sea Spray review, I'm going to break Breacher out and drive him on and off the back. So
awesome.
I'm going to be doing that then. Just not now.
Fantastic. So we're just going to quickly show the bio to the viewers on the sort of the back of the card, and that should appear on the screen now. Okay, so hopefully you saw that, guys. Very basic and simple, but it's pretty cool that he has one. A lot of these smaller figures don't, actually. So what shall we do? Shall we do a quick transformation now?
Yeah, we can do that.
Awesome. Okay, well, mine's in alt mode, so I'll get him into bot mode. And we've got our handy cams handy to show how this is done. True review, professional style. Not. So I'm going to set that up now. Jace, have you got yours set up?
More or less, yeah.
We can sort of talk our way through this. Which mode are you going to go for, Jace?
Well, both of mine are in vehicle mode at the moment. So do you want me to quickly get one into robot mode out of sight?
go for it. While you're doing that, then I'll start on this one. So here he is in vehicle mode, and one of the interesting things that Wilderness just actually told me is that this is an amphibious type of vehicle, which I thought was quite interesting because I didn't pick that up from these wheels, but certainly I can from the shape of it, and I do agree. It does have kind of a boat feel to it, particularly around the front of the vehicle. No doubt about that. In terms of size, this is very much a scout class figure, and it's got quite a nice blue colour to it. Could do a little bit more breakup, but I think hints of red, a little bit of white there for the logo, and the black on the gun and the tyres, and then the silver in the wheel. So it's got a little bit going on there. There's also this really nice grille which has a bit of silver detail. So some paint apps on it, just not loads. Again, a little bit more just there on the windscreens, and a little bit of white just inside. So let's get into the transformation then. So the first thing you want to do is remove this gun, and that just pulls straight off. You can see it's on a small white clip that you can use to hold it in the gun mode, the robot mode. So that's quite handy that it goes on both. Once you've removed that, you just want to turn it onto the reverse, and you can actually see all the panels inside. Now, he cleans up fairly well underneath, I think, for a bot of this size. Quite often, you know, these have to be very basic, but as Wilderness was saying, actually this is one of the better bots because it's got a really interesting transformation for its scale class, and that's quite impressive. So once you get it onto the back here, you just loosen him up, and as you do so, you can see the pegs here that are starting to show, and you know that you're doing it right. And he's got the old trick of the folding arms and the folding legs. So as you unclip him here, that starts to emerge. And you can see this armature, this white piece here on the swivel that appears. And then you can pull these side panels down on these hinges. You see it's starting to take shape. If you just fold this back, you can see the fists there are folded in nicely. And they just unpeg on those small clips. Like so. Turn this cockpit around for the head reveal. And there you go. Pretty nice face mould on this one, Jason. What do you reckon?
Yeah, the thing about the movie toys I've noticed above other Transformers is the amount of moulded detail they put on. I mean, prime example with Age of Extinction, you had like the power battlers and the one-step changes, much simplified Transformers built around a gimmick, but
yeah,
they lacked in sort of limbs and articulation. They made up for with molded detail. They're absolutely riddled with molded detail, and they're so intricately molded. It's amazing. It's some of the stuff they've got on them.
Oh yeah, it's cleverly done.
It's a one-step changer or a power battler. It's just a stupid little gimmick toy. A lot of collectors just sniff at them and say, "Oh, I'm doing that," because it's all rubbish. But you actually get one in your hand and look at it up close. They're just amazing. And my TF15 or 2015, I had that one-step drift, the little helicopter that's got like the scissor action.
Yeah,
that thing's absolutely unbelievable, and it's a one-step changer.
Yeah, exactly. What can you expect from these things? But I think they're a lot of fun sometimes, and they're quite therapeutic because they're easy to transform, and that's got a lot to say for that. Really, it's all very well having complex transformations, but let's be honest, a lot of us don't have the time to sit and enjoy those like we'd like to. At least with these things, you can sit back and enjoy them a lot more.
But Breacher, I mean, his transformation it's amazing. It's very complex for something this size, and I think he's got a transformation that's more complex than most Deluxes and Voyager figures.
Yeah,
he's that kind of bot. There's so much going on with his transformation. He's a real challenge. If somebody just hands the mold to you and say, "Here, transform this,"
yeah,
I'll struggle with it but it's the way the transformation works, and he's, to my opinion, he's like that close to being an absolute perfect bot, because the only thing he lacks is thigh swivels. But apart from that, he wants for nothing on articulation wise.
No, I agree.
Absolutely amazing what you can do with this guy.
He's got loads, hasn't he? I mean, I was shocked when I first got him. I think I just mistransformed him because he sort of takes you by surprise. You think he's going to be, oh, you know, really basic, simple transformation. And then when you actually get hands-on and you start playing with him, you realise he's actually quite sophisticated.
Very, very sophisticated bot. I mean, the only kibble he's got really is these panels on his arms, but they sort of fold out to the side, and they're not much of a problem. And the rest of it, it's all function. Yeah, he's got the butt flap as well, which you can move out of the way, and you have to move it to get the waist articulation, which is a bit odd because the pivot's off center.
Yeah.
So you know, you're trying to turn him to one side, and it sort of breaks up the sculpt a little bit, but that's just what it is. But at least it's got a waist joint. There's a lot of transformers that don't have waist joints.
Exactly. I think that's the point. There's so many that don't. It's, you know, we can't really complain when a few do. The other thing I find interesting about the robot mode is if you want to, you can actually just take off the arm panels. Because they come on this little...
In fact, I was looking on eBay at some the other day, and somebody was selling 2 of them, and both of them, the arm panels were missing because they've obviously been lost. So we had one in vehicle mode with bits of the vehicle missing where the door panels had parted company. But so obviously, if you're not careful, it is a bit that can come unclipped and get lost. Yeah.
Certainly the connoisseur would notice that, but I think not everybody.
John has got like the 3mm peg import. It pegs into the turret, but it also he's got solid fists, but he has like the 3mm peg as like a knuckle duster, so you can pop the gun into it, and but his fists are ball jointed, so you can move them any which way, so it look like he's actually holding the gun, you know, properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have it sticking out at the end of his fist.
Yeah, I've just got that working on mine, and it looks pretty good, to be fair. It does look pretty good. I do like the colours on this guy, even though he doesn't have loads of colour. He does look pretty good with what he's got.
Alt mode, all it's got is a couple of red for the tail lights, a little bit of silver for the windows, the lights and the grills on the front, and then the tampos for the number and the Autobot symbols on the side. So it's not exactly flush with paint apps.
Yeah.
But when you get into robot mode, more colours come out, most notably the white on the shoulder pieces and the thighs and the waist. And then he's got more paint apps going on. He's got these stripes of red on his arms, the little red spots. He's got a reasonable amount of paint on his face. It's not loaded with paint details, but it's enough to break out the outline of the figure.
One thing that's what I've noticed with the gun is that if you get the arms just right, you can actually plug the gun onto the arms as well, because he's got like a little panel there that the clip will go onto, and that frees his fists up again if you wanted that.
Yeah, you're right, yeah, it has, yeah.
And I think that looks pretty smart, to be honest.
What, you mean like that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've just got mine the other way.
Well, he's got them 3mm pegs on the bottom of the doors in alt mode, which is a stupid place to plug the weapon in vehicle mode, but obviously in robot mode, it's on his arms, and he's got a...
I've got mine like that as well, which you
got like a little ball jointed 3mm peg on the back of the gun.
Yeah.
You plug it in the side of the arm.
It does look nice, I have to admit. It's a very nice looking little bot, this. So, I've pretty much done mine. How are you coming with yours?
I've had mine in robot mode for a while now.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I will say about this bot, and honestly, out of all the transforming toys I own, this guy is like number 3. And I'm not usually one for going on about this, but proportions. Now, I think this guy has got absolutely perfect proportions, you know, for the length of the arms.
Yeah.
He just looks amazing. The silhouette of him, he's a bit skinny in the middle there. But apart from that, he just looks amazing. I was just blown away with the aesthetic and the proportions on this guy. He just looks incredible. He looks amazing. And all this from a Scout class toy. But then again, I think a lot of the Scout class figures from the Hunt for the Decepticon or Revenge of the Fallen were actually all pretty good bots, because there's a lot of like little gems there in the Scout series that they did for some of the movie toys.
Yeah, interestingly, the vehicle this guy turns into would make him fairly big, wouldn't it? In actual real life, he wouldn't be quite a small bot.
Well, I mean, you look at Sea Spray. I mean, he's a Voyager figure, and he turns into like a large sort of, you know, kind of a military-esque transporter hovercraft. And then he's got this little tiny little vehicle on the back. And this you know, if you look at the size of the door on the side and the size of the cockpit, I mean, this is no small vehicle. I mean, this is the size of a truck in reality. Yeah. You know, and you know, it would turn, you know, the bot would be, you know, a fairly large bot as a result if it was you know, true to scale.
Right, so transforming Breacher back into his alt mode. Now, obviously, first of all, you want to remove the gun. And I like to start with the legs, because the legs are fairly straightforward. So, turning him round to the back, flip up the butt flap. You get these side panels on the legs, pull them out. You then take the feet and then fold them in. And then you want to fold, well, actually, you want to get the waist and bring it round to the back. And then you want to concertina the legs in, like so. Then you bring up the knee guards. And then you want to clip that together. And that forms the back of the vehicle. So now you've kind of like got almost like a Gerwalk Breacher. He's got like a wheeled butt, and he's got his torso up there. So moving on, we now take you bring the torso up, flip that panel down, slide that round to cover up his head, and then you fold that round like that. Now you need the arms. You sort of turn them round to face up. You come round the back. Now you have this little nub in here, and there's a pegging port in there. Now you need to take the arms and twizzle them round so that they're facing upwards, and then bring that panel round to the front, and then you fold that in, and then you push that into there. Then you get this piece, and then again, looking inside here, there's a little pin in there and a little port. Plug that in, and then the hand, you need to fold the hands down. I think you need to twizzle them round so that the knuckles are facing outwards. So you do the bit on the other side. Plug that into there. Bring that round. Plug that into there. Now you take the turret, turn it around 180. It does help to flip these side panels out on the back, and then you concertina. There's a bit of a clearance issue here. You might need to bend those down, and then you hook the fists. This is the tricky part. Hook it under there, and then there's these little bits here that you need to plug in, like so. Then you fold the sides up, and you're almost there. Then finally plug in the gun, and there you have Breacher back in his amphibious personnel carrier mode. Like I said, it's a very intricate, very complex transformation for such a small figure. It's an amazing little thing. If you're not familiar with the mould, it can take some getting used to, because there's parts on it that are a bit tight. You know, the tolerance is getting the arms back in can be a bit of a tight squeeze. And you look underneath, obviously he's got his feet, then the legs, and then you've got the arms tucked up here, and his chest is basically the front of the vehicle. But, you know, it's a really, really smart, very clever transformation. I love it. He's a challenge. He's good fun to transform. He's got a neat little alt mode. The robot mode is absolutely amazing. It's fantastic. It looks brilliant. I mean, it's got wicked aesthetic, fantastic proportions. I love this thing to bits, and I think this is one of the greatest transforming toys ever made. It's unbelievable. And yeah, so there you go. Hunt for Decepticons Breacher, transformation, robot to alt mode.
So to finish off, do you want to show some articulation and just what kind of poses you can do with this?
All right, okay. He has got, let's start with the head. He's got a ball jointed head. The ball joint is in the back of his head, so he can look quite far up, not so far down because his chin hits the top of his thing. And you can turn the head to the side, though mine, the ball joint seems to have worn in the forward position. It's a bit springy going to the side.
Yeah.
Shoulders are on ball joints inside the shoulder joints, so they go all the way around. There's also a pivot here, inside here, so the arm actually pivots on the shoulder joint as well. Ball jointed elbows, so you get, you know, a bicep swivel out of that. The fists are ball jointed, even though it's a solid fist, but it's ball jointed and it's got quite a lot of movement and rotation there. Something this guy has got, a little articulation surprise that a lot of people might not realise, he's got an ab crunch. Look, look at that. I know it's a transformation joint, but come on. I mean, how many figures these days? I mean, it's quite rare to get an ab crunch on figures.
Yeah.
Especially like a Voyager class or a Leader class, but this guy, he's got, and it's a massive ab crunch. It goes, you know, he can look at his toes. No problem. It's a cheat. It's a transformation joint, but still, it totally works as an ab crunch.
Yeah.
Moving down, you've got like I said, the waist swivel, but because the pivot for the waist is slightly off center, let's see if I can show it. Instead of it being at the front, it's actually at the back. So when you, oh, I forgot, you've got to lift this butt flap out of the way because it does tend to foul things. And you can see that the waist joint is off center.
Yeah.
If you do a bit, it's all right if you do it a little bit. But if you do it too much, it breaks up the skull and it's like sticking out to one side and it looks odd. On the legs, he's got ball jointed hips. So you can more or less do the splits. Go forwards and back. He's got pivoted elbows, which go to just over 90 degrees, but you've got this little flap in the back of his leg, which if you open, you can get his legs to go all the way back. So you can get a full crunch on his knees. So he's got options. And then the feet are ball jointed, and they go any which way you want, forwards, backwards, left, right, swivel around, they go all over the place. So this guy has got plenty going on articulation. He's got more articulation than the majority of bots you can buy these days.
Excellent. So closing words then, what have you got to say to all your viewers for sticking with you after so many vids?
Well,
it marks a milestone on your channel.
It does it in a way. What am I? Just over 240 subs at the moment. My subscriber count's been going in fits and starts. It was stuck at like around 160 for a while, and then all of a sudden it lurched over 200. But I admit I'm not the best reviewer in the world. I'm not that funny or, you know, good to watch compared to some people.
That's true. That's true.
I like to think I specialize in these Korean bots that I like to collect, which not to everyone's taste. I do have a couple of foreign, you know, Korean subscribers, but the viewing figures I get on my videos is a bit not the greatest, but I keep going, and it's just a thing that I do, you know.
It's the quality that counts.
well, I wouldn't go so far as to say quality, but the fact that I'm actually doing videos, and there's quite a lot of other YouTubers who used to be quite active back in the day and put out really good videos, and then all of a sudden they found social media, and then they ground to a halt, and they haven't done anything since. So a certain social media networking site, and I'm not talking about Transformers and such, because that's apparently full of really excellent people. So I've heard, even though I'm not a member of it myself.
It's very kind to say. Well, thank you very much for asking me to do this collaborative video.
No problem, Chris. We've talked about it a few times, haven't we? And Breacher is an awesome toy, and if you haven't got one, why not? Because this guy is amazing. I reckon he's one of the best, greatest transforming toys ever made.
He's underrated.
Definitely underrated.
Yeah.
And I've got a spare one, so if anybody wants to buy one cheap, I've got one.
All right then, guys. Thanks very much. I'll see you later.
Okay, thanks for coming. I'll see you all next time. Ta-da.